You want to say anything to anybody?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey everybody, peace. I hope everybody's familiar with this quote. It's attributed to Rothschild. I care not who makes the laws as long as we control the money. Now, whether those are the exact words he used or it was something similar, it basically identifies who the number one enemy to any society is. It's to those people who control the money. And in the United States and most of the free world, it is private banks and whoever owns those private banks behind the scenes who control the money. And so people think the United States is a free country. Well, it's not, because if you control the money, you control everything. And until the people of the United States wake up to this and decide that they're not going to have a small cabal control everything, then it's never going to change. Never. We're going to continue to deteriorate into oblivion. And obviously the people who control everything, they're not going to let go of that. We're going to have to force it out of their hands. And everything in the United States is a racket, meaning a few people control everything. And I would strongly encourage you not to poo-poo this and say, well, I'm not going to worry about it, I'm not going to think about it, there's nothing I can do about it. Because we're going to have two choices. The majority of us are going to be slaves, okay? And I'm not trying to be dramatic on this, but in essence, there will be some form of slavery, okay? Meaning we will have fewer choices. So I've been trading for over 5 years now. 6 years, over 6 years now, where I've been actually involved in learning how to trade, etc. And I have come across information that's just disgusting. And it's not a level playing field. Certain accounts are throttled. You know, you've heard of social media accounts getting throttled where certain people can't get views or can't get exposure as other accounts because whoever controls that platform throttles it. Well, it's the same thing in the financial institutions. And it means that some people pay less and get information that others don't. And under Trump, it's so blatant where you can clearly see there are people getting information in advance, and you can see movement in a ticker that shouldn't be moving. And this goes all the way back to 9/11 when we had the trading on United Airlines. And instead of pinpointing who was actually trading that, no, because the people who control the money didn't want people knowing who was making billions on those trades. And until we get angry, until we decide to put our foot down and say this is not acceptable, then it's going to continue. In fact, it's going to get worse because it's more brazen than ever, because there is no penalty. What is the penalty for that would deter people from doing these crimes? Would it be just a slap on the wrist? Would it be a fine that where they make $1 billion and they have to pay $100 million back? Sounds like a great deal to me. No jail time, okay, no guillotines, and I don't. What is going to deter these people? And if you can print money, if you can make money at will, then a fine is not a deterrent. A fine is just the cost of doing business. It's kind of like when you see them set up these drug raids where the cabal on the drugs say, hey, they make a deal with law enforcement, say, hey, we'll give you a token arrest here or there. And that's just the cost of doing business. It's the same thing in the trading and the banking. And that is the number one problem in our society because it creates an unequal playing field. And back during the last crisis in 2000, I don't know if it was 2000 or 2001, when we had I forget the name of the group, the Wall Street people, where people were protesting against Wall Street. And finally, people trying to curb the inequality in this country. And it's truly, I can guarantee you, you might be making money in certain trades and in certain investments, but you are not in that class. You're just riding along with the momentum. And until we realize that this is the core of the evil in the United States, until we decide to take an axe and cut it off and say no more, nothing's going to change. Nothing is going to change as long as that stays the same. And evil will continue to rule the world and this country. In my opinion, it's never going to change. And it would take massive bloodshed. It would take, and what's happening now is with AI and with technology, it's now allowing this few to now control the masses that much easier because they have basically, the Hegelian dialectic is problem, reaction, solution. What they do is they create these problems to distract so that the focus is not on them. And they get people fighting with each other. And it's just, that's how they do it. That's how they do it. And the people who control our government, they're all bought and paid for, man. If you don't believe that, then you're a lost soul. And it's not that there's a conspiracy in every corner, but the central heart of the matter is money. Money. As it says in Timothy, the love of money is the root of all evil. And until we realize that it is possible to have a society where we don't have people living on the street, we don't have people who have given up hope, who have addicted themselves, where there's opportunity for people to advance the greater good of society with the efforts of their lives. We could have that society, but we allow the banksters, we allow the politicians, we allow those people behind the curtain to convince us that that's not possible. And they convince most of us that we should be against making it a great society for all of us, because they convince us that we are part of the upper class. We're part of the class that is above the people below, when we're not. When we're not. And that is the big lie. The big lie. And if you cut off the money, then they can't control the world. They can't control the politicians. They can't control the media. They can't control everything. And if it was a level playing field where you had the same opportunity as them, then they wouldn't win 99.999% of their trades. They wouldn't make money as easily as they do. The system is rigged where I don't have the same opportunities as the insiders, the people. It's just not possible. And it's going to take intestinal fortitude, and it's going to take determination, and it's going to take perseverance to end this. So I would be willing to wager that the society that we have is not the society that most people want. And what is it that most people want? Well, I suspect it comes down to a handful of basic things. And all of those are possible. But they convince us that it's not possible. And it's totally absurd how we're able to make money out of nothing, take debt out of nothing, and fund these programs that do not help our country. But the programs that could help our citizens in our country, everybody is convinced that, oh, well, we can't afford those. Well, we have the money to give to foreign countries and to basically give to corporations and to give to certain groups instead of helping our entire society. When you travel the world and you see societies that are cleaner, have better transportation, better infrastructure, better education, better health care, happier people, and yet people in the United States think that their society is superior to these countries. I hear it all the time. Oh, well, those countries are dog shit compared to the United States. Okay. And I've said this before. The only way to do this is we have to hit the reset button. Have to hit the reset button. Call it a constitutional Congress. Call it a reorganization of the United States. We have to basically, I've told the story 100 times about how I bought a house with all these trees, and I had to take all the trees down. I had to start from zero, and that's what we have to do in this country. We cannot start, the only thing that we start with is our Constitution. Constitution of the United States. Everything else, it's a sundown law. All these laws, all these regulations, they're terminated. And now we start from scratch. Yes, it's a lot of work, but it's going to be such a beautiful thing to now start from scratch where we have to basically sit down and have a debate. And instead of having this garbage go into these bills and programs that help nobody but a few people, now it's going to be a nationwide discussion on, do we really need this? Is that one of our top priorities? And that's what we have to do. And only through that reset can we rebuild this country to what we need. And it's something that it's simple, but it's not easy. And it's going to take a perseverance from the population, because you're going to be told it's going to freak out the people who control everything. It's going to freak them out. And they're going to do everything in their power to discredit in some way, to get people thrown in jail who are behind this. That's their MO. They'll either bribe you, they'll discredit you, they'll get you thrown in jail for they'll put kiddie porn on your computer or drugs in your car. They'll plant it, or they'll fabricate some crime like they did with Julian Assange, so they can basically get rid of you. And if that doesn't work, then they kill you, as we've seen them do. And I don't understand why this is so difficult for people to understand. Name any industry in our country, and it's all controlled by the same people, controlled by certain things. And it's not a level playing field, okay? Usually it's rigged so that the cabal, whoever runs it, gets their pound of flesh. And it's not a level playing field. Usually some group can get an advantage over everybody else, because that's just the way it is. So I can get into more details, but it just burns my ass, man, that we just go along with this. And people think it's actually going to get better by electing Trump. Well, I hate to tell you, Trump is one of them. Trump is one of them. Anybody in politics at that level is part of the issue. And if we hit the reset button, okay, they're not playing these games anymore, because there are no games. Basically, we're taking the power out of their hands. They no longer have the ability to create debt. They no longer have the ability to pass bills that spend money, because it's all gone. It's all gone. And the beauty of the United States Constitution is that the 10th Amendment of the Constitution delegates the authority, not spelled out explicitly, to the federal government. It has to say very clearly, this power is allocated to the central federal government. If it does not state that in our Constitution, that power goes to the state or the individual. But over the years, the people who run the world, who control our country, they have bastardized that. And they've decided to say, well, we don't interpret it that way. There is no interpretation. The Constitution clearly states, if it does not state this, it is not granted. But we have not risen up and with our pitchforks and said no. And it might take a revolution. It might take a civil war. It might take a huge amount of bloodshed that will last a certain amount of years. But in the grand scheme of the history of our country, that sacrifice will benefit our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren going forward, because it will put this country back on the track of what it was founded to be. Instead, we have been taken over, and we are hostages. And just like the Romans had bread and circuses to distract and entertain their citizens, that's all we have today, with NFL and MMA and everything else that is just a huge distraction. And so we have a choice to make. Yep. We can continue going down this path. And even those people that I know who live in these nice towns and these nice areas, who think that their children are going to do just as well, okay, it's like this. And it's designed to be like that. Just like the Federal Reserve was created to guarantee that our money depreciates and robs us of our wealth by 2 to 5% a year. And that's why the price of, like my haircut today, even in Mexico, I paid, I think the price was 90 pesos. Well, a couple years ago it was 55 pesos. And then last year it was 80 pesos, 90 pesos this year. So every year it goes up. That's not normal. That's not normal. That's called the debasement of your currency. And that's basically allowing the richest of the rich to basically take the wealth away from the rest of us. And at some point, and it might be too late already, at some point we can't come back from this. It's just too much to overcome. And this is where we're going to have the guts, have the intestinal fortitude to do the right thing. Turn to God and say, and look for this divine inspiration to get our country back. And we do not have to have a society of haves and have-nots. Doesn't mean everybody's going to be equal, but it's not going to be like it is today. What we have today is disgusting and it's unacceptable. And it's okay to stand up and say, I'm not going to take this anymore. This is not acceptable. That's all I have to say on it right now. Peace. And if you turn inward, if you meditate on this, if you pray on this, I think everybody will come up with the same answer. And I think we need to somehow band together and take this country back. All right, let me know what you think. Cheers. Bye.
Live long and prosper.